Mid-meal impressions.
Wow, now that the main savory courses have been officially cleared away and we have a brief moment of quiet privacy to ourselves, I just have to say that this has been the most mind-blowing culinary journey I have ever experienced in my entire life, and I am still completely reeling from the incredible flavor profiles of that A5 wagyu beef.
Oh, I completely agree with you, darling. That wagyu beef was an absolute revelation because the marble fat was so perfectly integrated into the meat that it literally felt like velvet melting on my tongue. And that rich, deep black garlic reduction added this incredible savory sweetness that tied the entire dish together flawlessly.
It really was perfection on a plate, honey. But you know what blew me away even more? It was that ingenious king oyster mushroom creation they made specifically for me to replace your luxury blue lobster course, because the kitchen somehow managed to give a simple mushroom the exact dense, buttery texture of a perfectly seared diver scallop.
I noticed that from across the table. Mark. The visual presentation was so stunningly identical to my lobster plate that if I hadn't known about your severe allergy ahead of time, I would have been genuinely terrified that they accidentally served you shellfish, which really speaks volumes about the incredible structural engineering of their kitchen.
Absolutely. And Oliver's vintage wine pairing for that specific mushroom course was an absolute stroke of pure genius, because that aged 2012 Premier Cru Burgundy he poured had these incredibly deep, earthy, forest floor undertones that mirrored the natural musk of the truffle butter without overwhelming my palate at all.
He really is an absolute magician with his pairings, Mark. I was watching you while he was explaining the unique terroir and the history of that tiny, organic European estate, and you looked exactly like a little kid standing in a candy store because you were so deeply fascinated by every single historical detail he shared.
I can't help it, sweetheart. You know how much of a massive wine nerd I am. Learning about how the specific limestone soil and the coastal weather conditions of a tiny vineyard can drastically alter the final flavor profile of a vintage just adds this incredible layer of intellectual appreciation to the entire dining experience.
That is exactly what makes this anniversary celebration so uniquely special, though. We are not just paying for a high-end dinner to satisfy our physical hunger. We are actively participating in an educational, deeply curated cultural exhibition where every single plate and glass tells a beautiful, complex story of human craftsmanship.
You always have such a beautiful, poetic way of looking at things, Elena, and that is precisely one of the million reasons why I fell completely in love with you all those years ago. Speaking of us, can you actually believe that it has already been a whole decade since we stood at the altar and said our wedding vows?
10 incredible years have flown by so incredibly fast, darling. Looking at you right now across this beautiful candlelit table surrounded by these gorgeous, fragrant hanging jasmine flowers, I feel just as deeply in love and connected to you as I did on our wedding day, if not significantly more because of everything we've built.
Me too, honey. We have been through so many wild adventures, faced tough challenges at our jobs, and worked incredibly hard to build our life together. So being able to sit here tonight in pure luxury, completely detached from our everyday stresses, feels like the ultimate, well-deserved celebration of our marriage.
It really is the perfect reward, Mark. I am so glad we decided to leave our laptops shut and our work schedules completely behind us for this trip, because this uninterrupted quality time together is exactly what we needed to completely recharge our batteries and strengthen our bond for the future ahead.
Definitely. By the way, I have to admit that you were completely right about the strict dress code policy earlier, because looking around this gorgeous, sophisticated dining room, everyone looks so incredibly elegant and well-dressed that our formal attire actually makes us feel like we are a natural part of the scenery.
See? I told you that you had absolutely nothing to worry about, you stubborn man. You look exceptionally handsome in that tailored charcoal suit jacket, and I noticed a few guests at the adjacent tables looking over at us with total admiration when Chloe was formally escorting us into this private garden sanctuary.
Well, they were definitely staring at you in that stunning emerald green evening gown, not at me, that's for sure. But speaking of the pacing, I am incredibly impressed by how comfortable I feel right now because even though we have already eaten 7 distinct courses, I don't feel uncomfortably full or sluggish at all.
That is the brilliant strategy behind their 15-minute intervals and those tiny, bite-sized portions, Mark. The culinary team understands exactly how to calculate the metabolic progression of a meal so that your body has ample time to comfortably digest each course before the next delicate masterpiece arrives at the table.
It is pure science combined with high art. Oh, look down at our table settings. The server just discreetly replaced our heavy savory utensils with these beautiful, delicate little silver dessert spoons, which means we are officially transitioning into the sweet grand finale of our tasting marathon.
Oh, I am so incredibly excited for this phase because I saw on the menu card that they are serving a complex creation featuring multiple textures of Valrhona chocolate paired with smoked sea salt and espresso foam, which sounds like an absolute dream come true for my massive sweet tooth tonight.
I know how much you adore premium French chocolate, so I am more than happy to let you steal a few bites from my plate if your portion isn't quite enough to satisfy your cravings. Let's just sit back, enjoy the soothing sound of that central stone fountain, and enjoy the rest of this magical night.
You are the sweetest husband in the world, Mark. Thank you for making this anniversary an absolute dream come true.
Thank you for booking this secret paradise, Elena. I couldn't have imagined a more perfect evening.
Look at how the soft candlelight reflects off the bubbles in my new glass of vintage champagne.
It looks incredibly beautiful and romantic, honey. The atmosphere in this garden booth is unmatched.
I feel like we are the only two people in the entire world right now in this booth.
That is the magic of 3-star Michelin hospitality. They create absolute privacy amidst a busy restaurant.
I wonder if the executive chef will actually come out to visit the dining room later tonight.
It would be an absolute honor to meet him and extend our compliments for this safe allergy menu.
Absolutely. He deserves a standing ovation for turning a king oyster mushroom into a luxury scallop duplicate.
I will definitely make sure to mention that to Mia when she comes back with the pre-dessert.
Speaking of Mia, her descriptions of the reverse spherification process earlier were just so incredibly educational.
Yeah, she is exceptionally knowledgeable. You can tell the service staff goes through intense professional training.
Every single detail here is executed with absolute perfection, from the glassware to the lighting adjustments.
It really justifies the premium price tag when the execution is this flawless and consistent throughout.
Look, I see Mia walking through the garden archway with 2 beautiful crystal chalices right now.
Excellent. That must be the Tarte Citrus Granita palette cleanser that you decoded from the menu earlier.
Perfect! My palate is completely ready to reset and prepare for that rich Valrhona chocolate explosion.
Let's finish up our wine sips and get ready for the grand dessert finale, my love.
Happy 10-year anniversary again, Mark. I would marry you all over again in a heartbeat.
Happy anniversary, Elena. Thank you for being my rock, my partner, and my very best friend.
Here she is. Let's discover what wonderful sweet surprises the pastry chef has engineered for us.
See you in the next English conversation session by Wisdom Studio 8.